Chapter 9. A long way to go.
Time goes by slower when you wait, especially at a bus stop.
Seren mumbles with closed eyes. She lays on the bench, her arm folded over her face. The others stand around or sit on the ground with their backs against the bench, thinking about their own goals and purposes. Evren's arm clip vibrates again. She reads aloud.
Your pictures are in the news. Include possible trap into planning. Geothermal power plant may be under surveillance. Probable, Winslow wants to present you as scapegoats. Be very careful. Pris is on her way with supplies.
She finishes the text more quietly.
Your boy is adorable.
Arya stumbles over the last words, but she still gets the main message.
Scapegoats?
She asks, perplexed.
Who would believe that we would blow up gods?
Everyone.
Raylan replies in resignation, for the first time fully grasping his father's plan. His hollow, bitter voice carries through the night.
He wanted to arrest us in the apartment and present us as terrorists at the geothermal power plant after they blow it up. But we made it out, thanks to Chiron and you.
Raylan nods to Seren, who is leaning against Terran's shoulder. Seren salutes silently, putting her fingertips to her temple.
Now my father desperately needs us, and especially me, for his plan to work.
Raylan says.
I guess he went public with our names and faces to force the issue.
Especially you?
Terran asks warily, fearing unknown threats to Raylan's future. Raylan swallows and sends Terran a weak smile.
My father wants to present me, his son, as a terrorist,
He mutters.
sacrificing his own son to whitewash his poor soul for the public. Hail Winslow.
He closes and gets up abruptly, walking into the darkness. Terran gazes after Raylan as he kicks gravel off the street. She remembers her video call with the other eco sections discussing the council's plan. She muses aloud.
The Dushama section was responsible for the charge, the northern section for transport, and we for placement and detonation. They are missing the final link.
Terran realizes. Arya shakes her head as she turns to Terran.
There is something wrong. If Ray is working for the Ecos, why not use him without arresting him?
That was the original plan.
Raylan admits as he returns from the street.
But something happened that they did not anticipate. First, they lost surveillance on me.
He points at his arm clip.
And then,
He pauses and looks up into the cloudy sky.
well, let's just say I've had one last run-in with my father and Cyphron yesterday.
Again, he pauses, resting his right fist in his left hand. The memory of the crushing blow into Cyphron's rib cage still satisfies him.
And
Arya asks after a moment's silence.
Huh? Oh, I may have shown too much backbone.
He answers politely, meeting Arya's raised eyebrows. He continues apologetically.
My dad and Cyphron may know that I'm not the willful puppet anymore.
what happened?
A youthful grin slides over Raylan's lips.
I popped Cyphron a good one and told my dad to go to hell.
My hero.
Seren murmurs and closes her eyes, exhausted. Resting her hand on her forehead, she picks up the threat.
So you turned into a loose cannon and they couldn't surveil you anymore. Then Terran cuts in and rats you out to the council.
Hey, you were there too.
Terran reminds Seren and playfully pulls a strand of her blonde curly hair.
Whatever. So he had to change his plan.
Seren continues.
Capturing all of us was the smart move. And this whitewashing thing in public, Crow, you have one mean dad.
Seren finishes, looking at Raylan.
Yeah, the Sons of the Hells got nothing on me.
Raylan snorts cynically. Yet, his anger also pushes him to leave the aimless hysteria behind, and purpose shines through the dark haze in his mind.
I will get you.
Arya is shocked about Winslow's callous strategy to rise to power. After everything she experienced during the past days, this madness within the madness is the hardest to absorb. Glancing at Raylan, she feels the simmering hate in him.
So how will they actually get the bomb in, now that you're not doing it?
Arya wonders. Terran recalls the details of the council's plan.
The plan includes the address of an electrical company in Dushama to steal a truck and worker wardrobes.
She says.
We're supposed to be the maintenance crew for the geothermal deep vents.
Then Dushama is our first stop.
Arya exclaims. Evren sighs and dampens Arya's hope.
And what will you do when you get there? How would you stop them?
She sadly shakes her head at Arya and tells her,
We're exhausted. Seren can't walk and still loses blood. We have no guns, No surveillance and no access to anything.
Meanwhile, Raylan has been listening in while he forms his own decision on how to proceed.
Ev's right, we need to regroup.
He agrees, but then turns to Arya, sending her a warm smile.
And you're right too, Arya.
He says,
Our first stop should be Dushama. Saren needs medical attention. We need to rest.
Raylan turns to Evren.
And give your puppet master some time to even the odds.
Pico is not a puppet.
Arya fumes in defense of Gepettia's protege.
I'm sorry, didn't mean that.
Raylan apologizes, puzzled by Arya's emotional response. Her attachment to an AI seems peculiar to him. Smiling at Arya's outbreak, Evren eases his mind.
You'll talk differently once you've met him.
She confidently assures Raylan. Raylan lifts his hands in apology and looks over his friends. Saren is half asleep, leaning against Terran, who gazes into nothingness. Both Arya and Evren stand at the edge of the empty street, arms folded and looking at him. He senses their fears and uncertainties, just like his own.
But we still have a long way to go.
He acknowledges all the roadblocks that await on their path. Yet, he is determined to act.
We've been on the edge all night. We just need to hold out a little longer. Prison supplies are on their way.
He reminds them.
And then we form up somewhere near Dushama.
He glances at Arya and Evren.
Gepettia may be able to help us.
Pris knows Dushama. She's lived there.
Saren murmurs, still following the conversation with closed eyes.
Great.
Raylan smiles, sensing the flickers of hope on his friends' faces. Now that the immediate threat seems manageable, their thoughts turn to the broader picture.
But we still have a long way to go.
Arya remarks. Hearing his thoughts spoken aloud, Raylan's smile freezes and his head whips around, barely hiding his surprise. He looks down at the ground and quietly agrees.
Yes, a long way to go.
Silence falls on the bus stop. The eerie quiet of the windless night feels like the eye of the storm, waiting for the moment when the storm returns. Still, their common goal unites them, and their demeanor radiates a newfound resilience. Not much happening.
Right now, I could use more of that.